Hello and welcome to the in-news series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja. Dear viewers, today we are going to discuss about a very important topic, that is the Electricity Amendment Bill. Now, as a bureaucrat, as a future IPS officer, IAS officer, or any sort of officer under the UPSC, you will be dealing with such problems which will concern electricity. For that, of course, you have to know about the recent developments, and it is of utmost importance that as future bureaucrats, we tend to give attention to such topics. So let us begin with the various things that we are going to discuss under this. I have made this entire segment very comprehensive. It might take more than 10 minutes to deal with everything, but I will also try to respect your time and be as brief as possible. Wherever you might think that certain plugging of the gaps can be done, that is your homework, okay? But still it's very comprehensive. So let us deal with everything that is starting with the news. There is a lot of opposition with respect to the amendment bill of the Electricity Amendment Bill 2022. It is seeing opposition from trade unions as well, from different opposition parties, and that becomes very important to know about this bill. What is actually wrong with this bill? Now, moving on, let us first of all talk about the basic structure of the news. The Union Power Ministry introduced the Electricity Amendment Bill on 8th of August in the Lok Sabha, and it is now referred to the Energy Standing Committee of the Parliament for broader consultation and scrutiny as well. Whenever a very important bill like this comes along, it is very important to scrutinize everything clause by clause so that nothing goes wrong. And in a country like ours, a democratic country like ours, it is very important to look over the flip sides. So that is why. The opposition is saying that Centre is breaching the promise given to the SKM, and SKM was promised that the bill won't be introduced into the parliament. That is what the opposition is alleging. And it is being said that, first of all, because it can lead to ending of subsidies in the future, that is anti-farmer. Then it also says this is anti-constitutional because it is disturbing the federal structure of the constitution. We will know about why, but just try to build a diagram into your mind. And also against the interest of the state. Now we will go through everything bit by bit. Why is it anti-farmer, anti-federal, and goes against the interest of the state, and everything will be discussed. So electricity is in the concurrent list of the seventh schedule. We have our list, so it's in the concurrent list, and it is being said that no consultation was done with respect to the Electricity Amendment Bill. As it is in the concurrent list, laws can be formulated with respect to electricity by both the union and the states. But we all know that the constitution has empowered the parliament's law to prevail over the state's law. Then comes the Electricity Act of 2003. Now this broadly governs the generation, transmission as well as distribution, also the trading of electricity. Okay. Then the generation of electricity under this act, it does not require a license. So an institute or an entity that is generating, not institute, but an entity that is generating electricity does not need a license. And the distribution, transmission and trading of electricity, that has to be licensed. Okay. So generation is not, but distribution, transmission and trading, these are licensed activities. For these you need to have a license. All right. Moving on, who regulates the structure of the electricity market in our India? In India, the Central Electricity Authority is the statutory body under this, and it advises the government of India on establishing policies, the safety requirements, as well as what are the technical standards to be met by the traders, transmitters, distributors and generators of electricity. Okay, moving on. Now let's talk about India's position with respect to electricity. India is the third largest producer of electricity in the world. We have seen an increase during the period of 2018 to 19, from 19 to 20. It was in 18-19, it was 1.376 trillion kilowatt per hour, but now it has increased in 2020 to 1.389 kilowatt per hour. And as of 30th September 2020, the total installed power capacity in India is 373.029 gigawatt. So one student, Pooja Rathod, she asked me in the comment segment that is it humanly possible to remember all data? If Pooja, you're watching, and for other students as well, remember that you have to at least know the major data that is very important for your examination, you can have an approximation for it. So if you do not even remember 373.029, you can at least write approximately 300 gigawatts, 370 gigawatts, like that. So it will save you a lot of negative marking if you give the word approximation. Okay, moving on, let us talk about the history of the Electricity Amendment Bill. It is not like today only or last year only it came into existence. It came into existence at the time of Atal Bihari Vajpayee when he was the Prime Minister of India in 2003. The major aim was to consolidate the laws which were very fragmented. The laws were, the governing of the electricity was done through various regulations, but they were very fragmented. In order to augment those, to make it more robust, a proper structure should be given. In 2003, it was decided. So for the generation, transmission and distribution and trading, also the use of electricity, this amendment bill came into the picture. To protect the interest of consumers and supply of electricity in all areas, that was another of the goal of this particular bill. And rationalization of electricity tariff. Electricity tariff should be rationalized in such a manner that it does not become too weak for the distributors and also does not harm the consumers in general. Transparent policies regarding the subsidies, how to be given, how the subsidies with respect to electricity should be given, to whom it should be given, and how to ensure whenever we are giving subsidies, it is not harming the pockets of the distributors. Now, this amendment bill comes at a time when freebie culture is being debated all around, right? It also said that eventually, not only said, but it resulted in privatization of distributing companies. Okay, so in order to increase competition, in the sense that increase the issue, you can say dedicate a proper amount of attention to the issue of subsidies to the electricity. So that was said that privatization could be done. Okay, privatization helped a lot. Moving on, it was also amended in 2007. 2007, the amendment was done and the provision for cross subsidy came into the picture. Cross subsidy is basically subsidizing the weaker section of the society by those who are gaining profits. Suppose industries, they are garnering a lot of profits during their tenure, during their working. So whatever from the profits the government takes a hold of and then distribute as subsidies to the poorer section of the society, the farmer section of the society, this is known as cross subsidy. Okay, then the 2014 bill, of course, after that many amendments were to be done, many bills were introduced, but none could be, consolidated, none could get the nod of the entire house, the parliament. Okay, moving on, now let's talk about the current amendment. What is the current amendment aiming at? It says, first of all, to increase competition, more than one power distributor can operate in an area. Okay, so this will increase competition. Also, any power distributor can use the infrastructure of other suppliers as well. So it dents the monopoly as well. Power distributors can also use the infrastructure of other power distributors. That can also happen. Not only that, but the consumers will also be given an opportunity to choose through which distributor they will get their electricity from, just like you choose Jio or Airtel, just like you choose your internet service provider, like that. So it will increase competition. To rationalize power rates and discourage pricing wars. How? Because it will ask the regulators to fix the minimum tariff ceiling. Whenever a tariff ceiling will be, a threshold is provided, what will happen? Other companies who are dealing in electricity will not get into pricing wars that, okay, look at my prices of the electricity, these are coming down, choose my power and choose my service. Other could do the same. So that will increase the chances of distributor companies to burn a hole in their pocket. Already discoms or distributors are going in a loss. So that is another thing. Also, to reduce inordinate delays. How? Now the applicant who is applying to be a discom, it will be deemed to be granted. Whenever a distributor is applying for the license, it will be deemed to be granted when, if the regulator does not approve or reject the power distribution license within 90 days. Okay, if the 90 days period has been breached, but the license was not rejected or disapproved by the regulator, then the power distributing company will be deemed to be licensed. Okay, so that will reduce the delays, and also it will improve compliance. The amendment says how regulators will be empowered to execute any order as a decree of a civil court. So regulators have been given so much empowerment so that compliance can increase. That means the rules and amendments that have been given are complied or abided by those who are distributors and others as well. Also improves the functioning of the regulators. The regulators are playing a huge role here. How? The eligibility criteria for appointment of members for the regulatory body will be fixed. Also, timely appointment of key roles. So staff revision will be done. Okay, when there is no vacancy, the regulatory body will be able to work efficiently. Another thing, because there is an eligibility criteria, what will happen? Specialized people will sit in the board. It will also increase efficiency. How? If any state commission is unable to perform its functions because of the vacancies that are there. Suppose any state does not saying that we do not have as many members as we want to work properly, the work of those state commission will be entrusted to any other state or commission or a joint commission. So every state will ensure that they have proper amount of members as well. Accountability will increase. How? Because there is provision of removing a member of a regulatory body if in case any willful violence or gross negligence of the roles can also occur. So accountability has also been fixed. See, your position is not permanent. You will be accountable for any wrongs that have been done in case you are doing willful negligence. Then it will encourage clean energy. How? Because the renewable purchase obligation, which has been it is going to be set by the center in such a manner that it is above the prescribed central government, so that renewable energy can be the purchase of it can be increased and coal dependence can be reduced. Strengthening the function of the National Load Dispatch Center. How? It states that the dispatch center may cut supplies. The center which is disseminating the electricity to the distributors, they can cut supplies if a proper amount of money, proper amount of fee has not been given to them. But there is a catch to it. What about the consumers? Can consumers be punished for something like this? So that is another thing. Moving on, everything here is something you have to understand from a point of monopolistic. Any monopoly has to come down, because if no checks and balances are available, the consumers will be at a loss in the future. Now let's take the rationale. Section 8 says facilitating the development of hydro sector. Hydro sector is also being given attention. Use of distribution networks by all licensees. Section 14, which I have already discussed. Just look at the sections. Section 26 says strengthening the National Load Dispatch Center. And Section 60A, that is new, power purchase and cross subsidy management will be done. Section 62, fixing of maximum ceiling and minimum tariff so that pricing wars do not occur. Section 142, penalty for non-compliance with the Act. So no need to remember everything, but yes, prelims could ask you. Section 142 asks us this, asks us to do that, like that. Okay, now what is the need for amendment? Whenever we are talking about any amendment, of course, that stems from something that is more deep-rooted. But for that need, we have to understand how the power sector works, how everything, who are discoms, who are regulators and all that, just understand from a rough perspective. Now, at the first stage, first electricity is generated. That can be done from thermal, that is coal, hydro or renewable energy power plants. That regulator is generally state-owned, generally, okay? NTPC Limited, NHPC, sometimes in bigger metropolitan cities like Bangalore, New Delhi or Bombay, we see private sector also participating as generators, such as these are known as independent power producers or IPPs, like Tata Power, Adani Power, or renewable companies can also be there, like Renew Power or Greenco. Then comes second stage, when the generated electricity has been given. Now that will run through a complex transmission grid system. Grid system is there for putting the electricity in one place and then distributing it everywhere. That is generally state-owned. State-owned is dominant over here. That is Power Grid Corp. Okay, and then we have state transmission utility along with private transmission companies are also there. These are responsible for intra-state transmission project. And this is a profit-making thing. So private companies are also included here. And Power System Operation Corporation, along with national, regional and state dispatch center. Then comes dispatch center. Okay, they work in tandem or simultaneously together to ensure that grid security is there and balance has been maintained. Too much electricity has not been, generated, and it is kept here. So that could lead to grid failure. Then comes our discoms, the distributors. These come in the third stage. Okay, the discoms, they are largely operated by the state government, and they work with power generation company through an agreement. This is known as power purchase agreement. Okay, so this agreement is signed between the discoms and the power generators, so that discoms can buy electricity and then give to the distributors, can give it to the consumers. Okay, and what are the problems here? Problems we will discuss when need will be discussed. Just keep this in mind. Okay, so first, poor financial health of the power distribution companies are extremely poor. They do not have proper money to even purchase a stipulated amount of coal according to their power purchase agreements, and that is the problem. Over 1 lakh crore rupees, 1 lakh crore power generation companies have been, this is owed to the power generation companies by the distributors. Distributors are, not able to pay proper amount of money to the generators, and this is the amount. Mounting dues are also there with Coal India Limited, because coal became, you can say, a very limited commodity when heat waves occurred in March, April. So it spiked the demand for power, and also there was a pickup in the demand from industries as well and households. When the restrictions of COVID came down, economy started to get back to its feet. What happened? More and more demand was done, and coal could not be supplied accordingly. So that is also a problem. Coal India was not able to scale up the production, streamline. The payment framework is also something that needs to be worked at. This is the need for the amendment. Empower the regulators so that they can understand the importance of being a regulator for the sake of it, and encourage competition in the sector. Okay, so as I told you, the ailments have to be discussed. Cross subsidy, as I told you. First thing, that if the profit making companies' money is taken out and given as a subsidy to the poorer section, what about the industry that is getting profit? It will lead to low morale. So first, cross subsidy has to be rationalized. There should be any other sort of mechanism in which subsidies can be given to the poorer section. Problem of AT&C. It is basically known as aggregate transmission and distribution losses. So aggregate transmission and distribution losses is a combination of loss of electricity through any technical issues, plus the electricity theft, then also the failure to collect cash from the consumers. All these lead to problems of aggregate transmission and distribution losses. So it is increasing. That is also another problem. Moving on to why is the bill being opposed? First of all, as I told you, electricity is in the concurrent list. Federal structure of the state is of any state is dependent upon that the union as well as the states, they work simultaneously. So the opposition is allegedly saying that center did not consult the states, and because the center is dictating almost everything, center is making the power generators as regulators as an entity which is more powerful. They are dictating the terms of it in appointments as well. They might dictate so that will also be a threat to the state. Okay, encouraging competition in the power distribution of areas may lead to too many entities entering into the urban areas only, but the lower and underserved areas will be neglected. This is one of the things. Farmers are concerned that it will eventually lead to the end of subsidies of power. If too many entities are getting into the power sector, it might happen just for profit making. They will do so, but not giving subsidies. It is also being seen as an attempt for the distribution sector, because it is saying that many power entities can come into the picture. So privatization can be done, and privatization will lead to more and more power cost for the consumer, for people like us. It can adversely affect the employees as well. When privatization will occur, then employees may also be, filtered. That is also another problem. That is, the employees are saying themselves. Okay, moving on. Now let's talk about the way forward. First of all, any bill needs to be first of all debated, and then stakeholders' claims should also be considered. Stakeholders' opinions should be taken, but it might, lead to a longer period of time, and discoms are already in such a mess, but still it should be done. The longer the debate period might be, the lesser will be the issues of a bill. Proper scrutiny should be done by the standing committee to which it has already been given, and debate can never be undermined. The dissent is the safety valve in a country like India. That has been said by the Supreme Court. So dissenting features can never be undermined. Debate can never be undermined with respect to any bill. Moving on, let's talk about our mains-based question. The Electricity Bill 2022, although seeks to address the lingering challenges in the power sector, yet it fails to achieve the nod of the stakeholders. Sorry for this mistake. Stakeholders comment. 250 words is enough. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We shall meet again.